It's a Stone Roadie show. All the skin formation that you need to know. Craig's got it all, so don't you go. It's time for the Stone Roadie show.
Rise and shine, everybody. It's time to wake and bake with Craig Reed and Griff Martin.
The Stone Roadie Show, podcast 305, and the following jibber jabber was pre-recorded. Action. Alrighty then, fellow Stone Roadie Dimension, looky here. My name's Craig Reed, aka the Stone Roadie. This is my co-host, co-pilot, and the rocket scientist, Griff Martin. And looky who we got with us today, my guest is. But
Hey.
we were supposed to have Paul Abraham on with us, but Paul got a new phone, and for some reason, he can't get his email, his Gmail working to accept a link. And it's like 9 o'clock, and we started trying to do this about 7:30. And yeah, we're just getting started here. We've been trying to get Paul to come on with us, but he got frustrated with trying to deal with it. So we're just gonna roll on with this. But we've had some interesting conversation here for the last hour and a half. We probably should have just been recording.
Yeah, we'd have been finished by now.
But it was a lot to do with trying to get Paul hooked up here, but it was could have been pretty entertaining, but we just didn't think about it, or I didn't. But anyways, we're gonna get this ball rolling here, but I got a few things I need to talk about first. First of all, happy Cinco de Mayo today.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, Robert Wheatley sent Randall Hall another $300, and I just had him send it right to Randall, so he'd get it. He sent him 500 on the last round, so yeah, he's donated $800 toward Randall on the.
And then he was going to do something with a T-shirt too, right, Craig?
And then and then he said, "I want that Rated X shirt that y'all got going on there, the red one." He said that's like Allen's. I'll add that to my collection. And so he's bid $50, $100 on that. So I doubt anybody's gonna top that bid, but you know that's the deal there. So yeah, he bid $100 on that. So
Is that one of Alan's shirts?
Yeah, show Mike that shirt, Craig.
Yeah, let me see here. It's an X.
Mike might want to wear that up on stage.
Yeah, I think Mary Filing has these that she's selling on the. This is an extra large.
You remember that, right, Mike?
I remember.
And then we got the Gary. We got 3 of these, or 2 of these Gary face shirts here, but they're mediums. And then we got that same Rated X shirt in a medium too. Oh. And yeah, and then once we figure out if we're gonna send that $100 to Randall for the Rated X shirt, we'll send us $40 that Len Jacobs Crombie sent in for Randall. We were kind of gonna wait till these shirts auctioned off before we sent that down. And then our friend in Germany, Andreas Hawk, he Oh gosh, I know I had one of these. I'm sorry, I've done misplaced it. Poopy doo doo. Anyways, I got the sheet here. I'm kind of discombobulated, but he sent another $100 for the
Send it cash?
fund of from Germany.
Wow, that's pretty cool.
And,
Get cash.
Yeah, he's pretty cool. He sent this. He says I own that place there. So this is my place, and he
What
wrote
town is that in?
Get close enough.
Mike was asking, where is that?
Somewhere in Germany. I
know,
don't know
what
but
town?
I'm not sure. So, Gene, you could stay here for free if you want to go to Germany.
Yeah, he actually wants to go to Germany to go back to his old where he was in the Army.
That's okay. That's where
And I'll have to tell him.
Okay, well, Gene, you can go. We had hook you up with Andrews Hawk, and you can stay here for free.
How sweet it is.
Yeah.
So cool. But it's in Flaskalten, Fladenguden.
I've never been there. I've been to
That is, see if I can, it's, well, it's got Frankfurt. It looks like, I don't know.
maybe it's close to
there.
Frankfurt.
written in German.
Frankfurt and Fulda and Würzburg and all those places. But
You've been to Germany quite a bit, hadn't you, Mike?
Yeah, I've been quite a bit. There's good clubs all over the place there to play. And you could just, if you had a good band, you could play in Germany and never play the same place twice your whole life. There's tons of good clubs over there.
Yeah. Do they like? Are they a huge Lynyrd Skynyrd follower there?
A lot of them are, yeah. Especially in Germany, yeah. There's a place we play over there. What's the name of that town? I'm having old guy issues today with my brain and memory. The Blues Garage, but I'm trying to remember the town. It's out. No, that's not right. Either way, Blues Garage is a great Southern rock place in Germany. And my friend David over in Olsburg, he's got a great place. And there's another place over there called Steak and Music. And Steak and Music has some of the best steak you've ever had in your life. And it's like, they got a great place to play. The venue's really nice. But their steak is just like, man, what's the name of that one here? Texas Roadhouse. Oh, it blows it
yeah.
all out. It blows
really?
it out the window.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They got that Mad Cow steak over there though, don't they?
I've never had it, not in Germany, but they did in
in England. In England, yeah.
Yeah, I don't eat steak in England. I eat what do they call it? Bangers and mash. It's sausage and mashed taters.
And prawns.
Yeah, I don't eat many prawns.
That's just
good
a
chance
fancy
you'll
name
get
for
horse in
shrimp.
England.
Do what?
The good chance you'll get horse in England, ain't there?
The what'll get horse?
There's a good chance instead of cow you'll get horse in England.
Yeah, there's good. You never know.
They eat a lot of horse over there, don't they?
Yeah, I thought that, but I don't think it really is. I think France is where you'll get that if you want it, but it's not like really. It ain't as much as what people think it is. It ain't like
that a French delicacy, horse?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, I ain't never tried it, but they got some great cheese there.
Yeah.
Yeah, England's got some great cheese too, and they're to me they've got the best cheese. England does, but I lay off the meats over there unless it's sausage, and they have a great breakfast. So I tell you, who's got some of the best food in Europe? You wouldn't know it if you didn't know it. Is the Czech Republic. Man, have they got some good food.
Oh, you did a tour through there?
I've been through there a bunch.
Oh yeah, they're big Southern rock fans, huh?
They've got the if you drink back when I drank, it is the best beer on the planet and some of the best food you've ever had. It really is.
When you go over to Europe, how many venues, how many clubs do you normally play on a tour?
Usually we go, to be honest, I couldn't name the amount of venues, but usually we'll have a couple festivals and then probably there's been times we've been over there for 9 weeks. But now we've cut it back to where when we go, we really won't go for longer than a month or 5 weeks tops. So it's a lot more hectic when you're trying to hit all the places. But man, we used to stay over there for quite some time. 2 months is a long tour anywhere,
Yeah, but you say it's getting crazy over there now, though. Kind of crazy.
They've been having their share of problems. I'll just put it that way.
Yeah, immigration issues.
Yeah. They have, but there's some people been out of shape about it, and there's some people that are okay with it, and they're struggling. So we're supposed to go back over there at the beginning of the fall, but I'm not sure if that's going to happen then or not. It kind of depends on some things, and the one thing is they changed a lot of laws in England for these clubs that you play, and it's like they've made it some guys that own clubs can barely make any money. They're on them about noise all the time, and it's like, hell, you moved in next to it. They got music. What'd you move in
really?
Next to it for? Oh, yeah,
Yeah, well, there's so many of them, and they live downtown, so.
Yeah.
There's something I was going to ask you, Mike, and this has to do with Jimmy Johnson. There's a friend of mine that he told me, Brian Bodkin, that he lives up there near Muscle Shoals. I think he knows Jay Johnson, but he was telling me that the same year, or maybe it was like 6 months before the Lynyrd Skynyrd plane crash, Jimmy's brother was in a plane crash and died. It was a DC-9, and it crashed where Bob Burns used to live, well, before he lived there, in Cartersville, Georgia. Did Jay ever tell you anything about that?
Never mentioned that to me.
Yeah, ask him about it. That's his uncle. That's his uncle.
Yeah, I would think I would know that. I've known Jay since 1987, and I would have thought I'd have heard that, but
ask him about that. That's kind of coincidental,
Yeah, I will. I talked to him yesterday on text, and we were talking about all this computer stuff earlier when we were using 4-letter words.
Oh yeah.
But my iPhone, for whatever reason, would not text Jay's phone. I could get his text, and then I'd have to send his text with the answer to another band guy and say, "Could you text this back to Jay?"
Wow, that's weird.
And I think they thought I was making it up or whatever. It was. This if you got to plug it in or charge it, you're gonna have problems. If it's it's like if it's got tires on it, you're gonna have problems. If you got to plug it in, you're gonna have problems.
And that's what we were having problems with Paul Abraham.
Missing being on here. I was really looking forward to him being on.
Yeah, because I had some stuff written down here that I took out of his book, and if anybody hasn't read The Gospel According to Abraham, you guys got to get that book. It's got a lot of cool stuff in it. And I was going to ask him about, and you even verified it there, Mike. You said that that he has one of the only handwritten notes that Ronnie Van Zant wrote somebody and signed.
It's the only one I've ever seen. Have you seen anybody, Craig, that had one?
No, I haven't.
And I did see, and I know Rossington had this because I saw Judy gave Gary, I was there when it happened, was a notebook of song ideas. They say Ronnie didn't write stuff down, but he did write some stuff down because I saw the notebook. And it was, fascinating to see. I didn't go through it, but
wow. So it had song ideas in it?
Yeah. Like if he'd come up with a line or something, and she gave them to Gary. I know she did. And but I don't know what he did with it. And he never brought it up. He showed it to me once, and I looked at it, and there was some, cool lines in there and stuff. But I don't know. I don't know where it wound up or if he gave it back to her. Hopefully he gave it back.
Maybe it was just notes to remind him of certain songs that he's trying to write and things, like little.
But
memories.
it had sheets in it. I mean, it wasn't, it was a folder that had a bunch of papers in it.
That's priceless.
It is.
This one that Ronnie wrote to Paul, and I guess Craig probably remembers the whole thing about Paul, because he said, I guess the first time he saw Skynyrd was in Finocchio's. He was up there in Atlanta. Is that where you remember meeting him at? Craig was in.
No, I met Paul and Carl, his brother Carl, who passed away. They booked Skynyrd before they got big in Cleveland, Mississippi. And so we went rolling in there after Skynyrd was pretty popular, and we played this gig in Cleveland, Mississippi that Paul and Carl had booked before Skynyrd
that must be where Paul said in the book that Skynyrd charged $3,500 for that concert, and Ronnie said, "Well, I'll knock $500 off," and so he knocked $500 off of that. He wrote that about that in the book. It was in Mississippi.
It's Cleveland, Mississippi. Yeah, I've got a picture of the billboard, but yeah,
he kind of hired him, right, to play a gig, didn't he?
Yeah, Paul was a promoter on
it. Carl, his brother Carl we showed up at the hotel. We played with this Holiday Inn, and he helped us unload the luggage out of the truck. And yeah, that was a great gig, man. That was
and then it was right after that gig. Paul got thrown in jail for something, and he didn't say what it was in the book.
And Carl kept coming to the shows afterward. I goes, "Is your brother still a jailbird?" And that was for at least a couple years. Yeah, Carl would come to shows, and I'd get him in, and then when Paul got out of jail, they always used me for a connection to get into the shows, and they always got a hold of me, and I was
and then once he got thrown in jail, then the band Ronnie wrote him this note on a Holiday Inn. It says Holiday Inn, Starville, Mississippi. He wrote Ronnie a note. You probably can't see it, or Ronnie wrote him a note, and it says, "Sometimes things get bad, but try like hell to keep your head up. Can't keep a good man down. We'll party together soon. God bless you, mother effer." Ronnie Van Zant. He signed at the bottom, "Your friends, Lynyrd Skynyrd." And then Gary says, "Now get your ass out of there before we have to come get you." And then Alan says, "Paul, God bless you. Get out of that place, man." So I guess they were pretty good friends by the time he got thrown in jail.
Well, let me explain this picture that I got up behind me here. This is a picture when I took Mike over to Alan's house.
Oh
The
yeah.
first time. How old you were? What, 16 there?
I was 19. That was Easter Sunday, 1983. The day I learned how to play Freebird.
And that's Alan. You're playing Alex Explorer, and he's playing the black Strat.
Yeah, with the telly neck on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that one got stolen, actually.
That's the one that he gave Billy Fender. That he gave Billy Fender that guitar, and then got giver's grief. And I asked Billy to give the guitar back, and he gave it back to him. Yeah. Yeah.
I think it got stolen after that.
Yeah.
It got stolen, did it?
I think it did. I think there was several guitars down there that went missing.
And we talked about how on one of the last podcasts how Mike ended up meeting Alan and getting involved with the whole Lynyrd Skynyrd thing, and it had to do with you, Craig, right?
Craig.
Well, yeah, I was at the Jacobs Avenue office, and I was just hanging out there, and the phone rang, and I answered Rossington Collins Band. And Mike said something to the effect, "I can't believe I got."
I said, "No way! This ain't really the Rossington Collins Band, really."
Really? How old were you, Mike? How old were you?
16 or something.
16, yeah.
Man, that's a dream come true.
Yeah, I think I had just started driving, like right before that or something.
And you were wanting the name of a band. You wanted your band to be named.
Yeah, I talked to Craig like 3 days a week. I'd call down there and just BS, and then tell him about my band. I'm sure he probably had the phone like this most of the time.
That was the first time I remember talking to you, actually.
Yeah, but after that, then I called him up and I said, "Hey man, somebody is trying to sue us. We had a band in high school called 100 Proof, and there was already a band that had that name, of course. And they found out about us, and they were older guys, and they had it trademarked and all this stuff. Dude threatened me with a lawsuit. So I called Craig up, and I said, "Man, this guy's threatening to sue me over the name of my band. You don't have any good band names that you know of, do you? Because we can't think of one." And he said, "Hang on." So he could. Back then, this was 83, and Craig could conference call on his phone, man. He was a master at technology.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah.
It was three-way calling, yeah. So I called Alan.
So he called
Alan, man, you and Gary were talking about some band names the other day. What's a good band name here? Hell and High Water.
So you
all
overheard,
right, well,
so Alan, you heard Alan say that, Mike?
Yes.
Yeah.
He was Hell and High Water. Hell, that's it. That's
Hell and High
knew.
Water.
He already knew.
Sorry?
He already knew what he was going to tell
like
you.
that. Like
Not Hell and High Water.
It's Helen.
Helen. Helene High Water.
H-E-L-E-N. He said, not Helen. He said H-E-L-E-N High Water. 2 words.
Helen High Water, yeah.
It was hilarious, man. I'll take it.
But then you were going to meet him, and then when you met him, he wanted to box you with some boxing gloves.
Well, that was when he showed up the next time, yeah. And, actually, him and Boxcar showed up down in Jacksonville, and I took him to this Italian restaurant that was real close to my apartment.
Yeah. Hang on, folks. Keep talking. I got to let my stupid dog in, or he'll drive us nuts. Hang on.
Boxcar.
Boxcar, yeah. Steve Trump, he still works for Lynyrd Skynyrd. He was Billy Powell's keyboard roadie, and now he's working with Peter Keys.
So when Mike first met Alan, did you bring him down to Jacob's studio?
No, took him out to his house, behind the studio behind his house, and that was when the Alan Collins band was together, and we had the studio, and then we had a control room with a glass window. And I took him in the control room. I said, "Here, just stand here behind the glass window, and they won't see you." But Alan could see somebody else was in there, and he came in wanting to know who the hell else was in there.
He said, Craig told me, he goes, "That's one-way mirror glass. Don't worry, he can't see you."
Oh, really?
Yeah, because I didn't want to go in there. I said, "No, man, I don't want him to see me." You know, I couldn't.
Why? How come you didn't want him to see you?
I was just kind of shy around people I didn't, that I idolized.
Yeah.
You know? And it was like, I said, "Oh man." And then Alan's looking at me and Box through the window. And I was like, I go, "You said he couldn't see us." He goes, so Alan come in and then what happened was I'll make it short, but Alan started saying something to Craig, and by this time I had poured enough Jack Daniels. I'm like 18 years old or something. I might have been 17 even. And Alan starts ragging Craig about something in fun. I said, "Hey man, you can't talk to my buddy that way."
Really?
Yeah. And then or Craig was ragging. I'm sorry, I messed it up. Craig was ragging Box about something. And I said, "Hey man, you don't talk to him that way." And Alan goes, "You can't talk to Craig that way." So he goes, "Let's put on the gloves." So he had these big marshmallow gloves, you couldn't hurt anybody.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And it wasn't like
They weren't that big. They were just 16 ounce. They were
16,
big gloves, They were,
They ain't like what they box with, I mean, you wear yourself out hitting a guy, and which we both did.
Chad had a pair of them gloves, and when he popped me good one, you could feel them. And he was like a kid.
They'll split your lip if you don't have a mouth guard in, for sure.
Man, I hit Alan with everything I had. He did that like rope-a-dope thing like this, dropped his head. I'm like, bam! And I knew I was dead after that.
How well of a guitar player were you back then at that time?
I still ain't worth a shit.
I know, but you were in front of Alan Collins now, and you're wanting to get a name of a band from Alan Collins. He's going to want to hear you play, right?
Yeah, we didn't play that day, but the day that picture was taken, we played for like 10 hours.
No shit. Yeah.
I mean, my fingers hurt so bad by the time.
What were you playing?
Alan knew Mike was bound and determined to play Skynyrd shit, so he was going to teach him the right way to do it.
Yeah.
Were you
ain't
like,
gonna fuck up my shit, man?
Yeah, he's like, man. He goes, "All right, show me how you play it." And then,
wow.
I'd say I was like this, and he'd say, "Okay, well, I like that, but it's better if you do it here." And it was like, okay, now I got to relearn how I've been playing it blindfolded,
So you were basically doing the same notes, but you were playing it in a different place, and he was telling you need to do it over here to do it.
Yeah, he said, "Now that's cool and everything, but the way where I play it is here," and it does make a difference in the way it sounds, even if I was playing it on lower strings and he was playing it on higher strings.
And I heard that you were like the first person he really ever taught Freebird to. That wasn't.
It could be true, but he wanted to make sure. He goes, "If you're gonna play it, I want you to play it right." And by God, by the time I got out of there, it was like, okay, I think I couldn't play it the way he did. If nobody can, but and nobody has since. And
what do you think about Ed King's version of Freebird? Man, it sounds great, but you can tell it's Ed King. It's like Ed King playing Freebird.
That was but that's what I always thought was the best thing about it is as soon as he played a note, you knew it was him.
You knew it was him.
Yeah.
And that's what I was telling a lot of people on the podcast. If you go back and listen to Strawberry Alarm Clock, and it sounds like Lynyrd Skynyrd meets Strawberry Alarm Clock.
It's psychedelic Skynyrd.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's got that Ed King twang to it, which is really
he was so
cool.
good, man. He knew the neck better than anybody I know to this day. and there's like Ed was a phenomenal guitar player.
Do you remember when Marty Schwartz, that he's like an internet guitar teacher, and he went over to Ed King's house and he was learning like Sweet Home Alabama, and he was some of the songs that Ed knew, and Ed was showing him. You know who I'm talking about? Marty Schwartz.
I don't think so.
Yeah, he wears kind of like a funny hat, and he's a real nice guy. He went over there to, it's on the internet, but I was just noticing that a lot of the licks that Ed was playing when he was showing him, you could tell that, I mean, stuff that he easily played back then, he was struggling with, you know what I mean? But of course, the guy had a heart transplant, and I mean, that was so.
Was
did you
pushing 70 at that time too?
Yeah. Did you play much with him at that time, or you guys kind of?
No, we did a few times after we were both out of the band. We got together, me and him and Billy Ray Cyrus, me, Ed, Billy Ray, Alan Woody from the Allman Brothers.
No shit. You were playing with Billy Ray Cyrus and Ed King?
Yeah, and it's actually one of the things we cut was a version of I Walk the Line. It's actually been released on something. I think I can't remember the name of Billy had another name he released it under, but it's me and Ed and Alan and Owen Hale and Johnny Neal, the keyboard player from the Allmans.
Paul must have hooked you up with Billy Ray then, huh? Because he was like buddies with him.
Well,
he worked for him.
Yeah, that was Paul worked for Billy Ray after.
It was it?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so this was.
What did Ed know him?
Ed got Paul the gig with Billy Ray.
Oh, no shit. So that's how that came about.
Yeah. So, but we had a great band, and everybody was into it. But Billy Ray's manager didn't want him playing with a bunch of, dopies.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Is he kind of a square guy, or?
He's not around anymore. I don't even know what happened, but I don't know who Billy's manager is. I did a gig with Billy it's been a few years ago. Me and him went over to West Virginia and did a flood relief benefit together and hung out. And I hadn't seen him in a long time, and it was great to hang out with him. And he's got a son now, I guess it's doing music as well. So
there's a guy named Kenny Phillips. You remember Kenny Phillips?
Name sounds familiar.
Yeah, he actually donated a dobro to the podcast, and he had a question for you. I guess maybe he was there. He says, Mike, can you remember the name of the club Helen Highwater played in Jacksonville the night Alan Collins popped in?
Yes, I do remember.
You do you?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, he was there. Kenny was there.
He was.
Yeah, he was there.
That was epic. That night was.
What happened, man? What happened?
The only bad thing about that night is nobody had a camera. We were playing at Lynyrd Skynyrd's West Side Lounge that used to be called the Still.
Coach Skynyrd's place?
Yes, he had 3 of them. And this was the smallest of the 3, but it was my favorite one to play because it would pack out. It was wild as hell in there. And Alan shows up, and he sat in on, I think we played Needle and a Spoon.
I was with Alan, right? I brought Alan.
You were there.
I
brought
Alan.
Yeah, because he wasn't driving. and so we played Needle and a Spoon, Crossroads. I remember. I think we played Freebird and a couple other things. And he played my Firebird
on 10.
Yeah, on 10. On my full stack.
It was freaking loud.
He goes like this.
Do you still have that Firebird?
I do. Yeah. And I still got the amp as well. But I don't throw anything away, man. Look at my place. I'm a borderline hoarder.
Yeah, you still, for people that don't know, that couch back there, and that's kind of sentimental to Mike because Billy Powell used to sleep on that couch.
He sure did. That's the whole reason I've kept it.
What was it at the place you're at, right where you are now?
No, it was about 1/16 of a mile away from here.
Yeah, so
you could walk right to where it was.
and you and Paul used to trade turns with Billy.
Yeah, he stayed with Paul mostly, but Paul would take over Paul's remote to the TV, and Paul said, "Man, I got to get my TV back, my life back for a minute. Can he stay with you?" Yeah, so he'd come and stay with me for a week or so, and go back and forth to Paul's, and we were trying to keep him from drinking. And
that's kind of a hard thing.
Oh, I love those things. That is like Craig. That is one of my favorite things.
Chocolate covered cherries.
TP sent me those. Yeah,
I absolutely love those.
She sent me this too, chocolate peanut.
Yeah, Craig. Mike. Here's what's funny is there's people. Craig owes. We gave all these prizes away, right?
Okay.
And I didn't realize that Craig wasn't going to send them out. So I was egging him on. Craig, let's give some more away, right? You go, yeah, this is fun, right? So now there's like 20 prizes. It's been a year.
18.
Right. So it's kind of funny that Craig, but he's getting to it, Mike. He's getting.
Are you getting to it?
But people send him stuff all the time, and these people that aren't getting their prizes are getting pissed off.
They are.
Somebody sent Craig like a quarter pound of weed. Right, and this guy goes, "Oh, look at him getting all these buds," and somebody sent him a brick of hash, and he just keeps getting all these gifts, but yet he won't send the prizes out, and it's pissing people off.
Well, I can tell these folks that want to send me anything. My PO box is.
But back to that Kenny Phillips question, he also wanted to know: do you remember the band that opened for you? You probably hadn't thought about that shit in a long time.
I don't remember there being an.
I don't think there was. No.
I
think it was.
Craig, why did Alan want to go down? Did he want to go see Hell in High Water? Is that
yeah. I told Al. I think I just told Al. I said, "Man, that kid that was out here, and he's got that band Hell in High Water. They're playing down there still. He's going to be playing some of your music." So. And down there. But Mike played all over town. When Mike come down, I think he played. I was Mike's manager back then. I was booking him into all these bars.
Yeah, we played the Neon Cowboy where Randall used to play, and then we worked 6 nights a week, man.
They were staying in a hotel with one room. They were all of them were in that one hotel room. And they were packing they would bring the gear in the hotel room with them.
Well, hell, you were only like, what, 17, 18?
At that time, I was 18, yeah.
Were you were living in Jacksonville at the time?
Yeah, and I actually...
In a hotel room. The whole band was in a hotel room.
It was a kitchenette. It had one little room, a little bedroom, the tiniest bathroom you ever seen, and the smallest kitchen you ever seen. But
did you grow up in Jacksonville or what?
We went down there because Craig was there, and they weren't really touring that much.
Well, that was when you played Hannah Park. That was when I had you booked. We were good friends with the radio station. I say we, me, and Larkin from The Office. Well, forget the name of the station. We played. We played the Skynyrd. Who was it? The Skynyrd. We played. The band played the radio station in a softball game or something. I played shortstop. Yeah, but anyway, so the radio station was holding this thing of the best band in Jacksonville would open up for Alan at the beach. So Mike's band won the contest out all.
No shit.
But there was a little bit of weirdness because people in Jacksonville said, "Well, they're not from Jacksonville." Well, they're living here now, so they're really...
They're friends with Alan Collins' band, and so it's an inside job. It probably was, but
well, Mike's band was the best band anyway. So,
well,
they played Hannah Park out there at at the beach. Yeah, that was.
How long were you hell in high water? How long did that last?
Oh man, it lasted years. I did that from the time I was in high school till we were playing.
You were hell in high water until you started with Skynyrd, weren't
just
you?
about, yeah. And
oh, really?
yeah, and then we were playing all these dives, and I talked to Craig one day, and I said, "Man, I ain't getting nowhere." I said, "I don't know what I'm gonna do," and he said, "Quit playing those goddamn dives you're playing, and you're a songwriter. Write some damn songs, and we'll do something." So that's what I did, and the band was pissed off at me because I didn't want to go play these bars. They were counting on making the extra money, but I was working full time anyway. So we just started recording, and it started. That's when the guys in Skynyrd, which had reformed by then, were paying attention to the stuff I wrote and stuff.
So was that like before? Was that like after? That was probably after like 88 or something.
Yeah, this was like 91 or about
91, something like that. So
after they put that record out, I started sending Craig stuff, and they were writing stuff for Last Rebel, and that's when me and Ed King became friends, and that was due to Craig playing some lyrics I wrote over the speakerphone, and Ed walked in and about lost his mind and goes, "What are you doing with my song?"
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
Craig goes, "I'll call you right back."
What did he do? Show up then or something?
He just showed up. Yeah. And they had a little entrance office. The place was like an auto body shop or something before that. And they had a little entrance office, and where the business phone was, and Craig was at the desk there, and I was playing the thing live for Craig over the speakerphone that he was listening to, and Ed King walks in while this is happening, and
noticed.
Oh no, and it's because Craig and I were keeping this on the down low, because we didn't want to piss anybody off, so. And Ed walked in on it.
When they were down there rehearsing the song, I had Mike on the phone, and I said, "Yeah, they're having hard time writing words to this." And Mike heard the melody, and just kind of wrote words to it, and called me back. A couple of days later, and went, "Here, listen to this." And when he called back, Ed was playing it to me, and Ed walked in and said, "What's this?" I said, "Well, my buddy heard you playing this over the phone and heard the melody and wrote words to it." He goes, "Johnny know about this?" I said, "No, you're." And it was kind of a dramatic.
Yeah, had you met Ed at the time? Had you already met him?
I had met him, but
they were great words, man. Yeah, it was great words. What was the name of the song?
The Gift.
The Gift. Yeah. They were having a hard time writing, and Mike put it right together.
So whatever happened with that song then?
They never. Well, needless to say, that they cut it. But no, it was me and Ed ended up doing demos of it. Right after that, maybe not even a month later, Ed flew me down to Orlando, where he was living, to work on some lyrics to some ideas he had, and he called me on the phone. Craig gave him my number. He called me on the phone and said, "You want to come to Orlando and write?" And I said, "Sure." So he flew me down there, and I think I stayed 3 or 4 days, and we wrote like 4 songs, and none of that stuff really ever got released Some of it, I think I've still got all of it, but it was it was it was just kind of more of a getting to know each other thing, and see, he wanted to see if I could write on the spot, you know, and stuff like that. So that's what started me and Ed's writing partnership was that.
Well,
You and
backing
Ed
up
became
to
really
the
close, man. You guys
backing up to
became,
the hell and high water though. So so Craig told you needed to quit playing those shitty little gigs and start writing, and then you said
got to
that,
write your own shit, man. Just
yeah,
like
and then you
like
said
Dwayne told Ronnie, you got to write your own shit.
so.
Yeah.
You said that Skynyrd noticed you. Well, what did you do, Craig? Play some of it for
Ed
Skynyrd?
King noticed that Mike was a writer and
Yeah.
wanted to get with him and write. You know, I mean, he
So
saw.
what did he do? Say, hey, bring that kid in here, that Mike Estes kid in here, and let's.
Well,
let's
they
see what he
needed a
can do.
guitar player at the time too, so Ed, you know, kind of threw Mike in there and knew he was a writer, and you know. And,
What did you think about that at the time, there, Mike? Like, you know, you were
Oh
getting ready to
God,
play.
it
You
was
know,
scary, man. It was like, it's my favorite band in the world. My favorite guitar players still living in the world, and it was like,
you hadn't met Gary yet, or
yeah, I had met Gary in '87, but we weren't, you know, close friends or anything. But
right?
I used to go to shows and see Craig and watch the show, and he'd introduced me to Gary several times. Hell and High Water actually opened for Skynyrd.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and so yeah, I kind of knew Gary, but we
So
weren't
you
like,
kind of trickled into knowing them all,
yeah.
then, basically, and
They-
then you got the call one day. How did
Yeah.
you find out they wanted you to start with
Well,
them?
to join it, it was actually Gary. Ed didn't want me to join the band. He was afraid it would affect my writing, and because Ed and I were writing for Country Market at that time, you know, we were trying to get songs like to the Alan Jacksons of the world, you know, and at that time. And but I went over. Ed had to go see his kids in Orlando, and he had a house in St. Augustine at the time. And Gary said, "Hey, why don't you come over and stay at my house for a couple of days while Ed's gone?" And I knew Gary. We knew each other, and had, you know, partied together several times. So I said, okay. So I went over there, and we ended up going somewhere and jamming with this band. And Gary and I were pretty schnockered at the time. We got into a bottle of Booker Nose, and but I was still playing okay. And he said, "Hey man, you know, I was going to ask Greg. I wanted Greg Martin to join the band, but he's not going to do it. So that leaves a spot open. Would you like to play with us?" And I went, "Oh God, yeah." I said,
Oh, man.
I think I go, "Shut up." And so, anyways, I said, "I'll tell you what. Yes, of course I would, but if just make sure you still feel this way tomorrow. I'm not going to."
Yeah, because maybe he was a
Because
little
you might be just, you know, not
right.
thinking correctly. Because I
Well,
know I ain't.
That might have cinched it for you. You know, you were being thoughtful, and he probably.
I said, yes, if you still feel this way tomorrow, the answer is yes. And he called me the next morning like I couldn't believe he didn't have half the hangover I did.
So who all was in the band at the time then?
There was 4 original members: Billy, Gary, Ed, and Leon. And Owen Hale played drums, and me, and I was the new guitar player after Randall left.
So the first day when you came in to practice with him and shit, were you like, man, I can't believe this is actually going down here?
It was.
Do you remember that day?
Oh yeah, shit.
Yeah?
Yeah, I remember it. It was.
Was
I
it?
had to learn some other stuff. I had to learn some. Hell, I wasn't playing a couple things right, and they wanted me particularly to play Alan's rhythm parts, which was okay because I loved Alan's rhythm thing, and that was actually my favorite thing about his playing was his rhythm playing, and Ed was happy with it for probably 80%, and then we and the rest of the stuff that I didn't have, Ed showed me and Gary showed me, do this way and that. But I spent all the off time. If we weren't rehearsing or touring, I was constantly working on guitar stuff. Just to make sure I kept up in the band.
Yeah, because you had some big shoes to step in, man.
Mike was playing my Stratocaster on Steve's. I know a little.
The one with
he was actually playing my
neck?
Stratocaster, the one he played in the studio.
Wasn't that neck kind of messed up on that thing or something?
Well, I had changed the neck on it at that point, hadn't I? Put the
the neck
on it.
Actually, there are pictures of that guitar with Steve playing it with each neck on it. I have the neck that was originally on that guitar when Craig put it together. And
the one that Steve recorded
when he recorded it with the Strat neck. Yeah, it was thin. I just put it together. And then I got a telly neck and put on it.
Yes.
Oh, so it was still a Stratocaster at the time.
I just put it because that was one of Alan's thing. I did it because Alan had that black with a telly neck on it. So I said, I got to be like Alan, so I got to put the telly neck on there.
Everybody,
I think Ed had a Strat with a telly neck on it too, didn't he?
He did at one time, yeah.
Yeah.
But this Strat neck that was on that guitar that he's talking about originally belonged to Ed King, and it was on a 59 Strat that Ed played with but he didn't have the neck on there that long. It's a maple neck, and I can go get it if you want me to.
Oh, that would people would love that.
Hang on, give me a sec.
Craig, what was wrong with the neck? Because I remember there's like a whole thing about the neck wasn't.
He had it shaved. Mike had it fixed. He had it shaved. It was warped down around the 12th fret, down around around the E, little E, the B, the G, down in that little E. It was warped. It was kind of. It was lower. It was the action was lower.
But Steve played it like that, right?
Yeah.
Steve recorded with that like that.
Yeah.
And then Mike shaved it down and fixed it.
He had it fixed. He showed me the other day pictures of it. He had the neck reshaped and fixed, so it's straight. Yeah.
And so then Mike used to, whenever he would play the Steve Gaines parts, he would break out that guitar.
Yeah, he played that Strat. Yeah, he had that Strat for about a freaking decade.
Now this is cool. This is cool as shit right here. People that are Lynyrd Skynyrd fans. Those are the tuners off the. Man, that's so. Steve Gaines played "I Know a Little" on that. Damn, it looks a little shaved down on one side.
It had a hump in it right down here. It's not straight right now, but I can straighten it because it's what we did is from the 12th fret up here, from here to here was flattened out by the best guy in Nashville. And that's what Clapton did with his. And so if I wouldn't have had that done, it would have been unusable. It had just been a keep.
How the hell did Steve
those weren't the tuners? Those weren't the tuners that were on the guitar when Steve played it either.
No, you put those on after.
Those are the tuners that were on the Strat, I think.
But tell them
on the telly. Those are cool tuners. Yeah, those are like pearl knobs. Those are cool.
Tell them do you remember where those tuners came from?
No.
There was some guy that owed Alan money.
Oh, yeah. And I went and took his guitar.
Yes, yeah. Alan took his guitar, and these tuners came off of that. So That's
right. They were off of that one. That's right.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. Some guy, Alan, I ripped Alan off for some drug money, and I went over there and confiscated his Telecaster. And those were the tuners. That's right. I forgot about that. Yeah.
So that's the reason.
Mike, just so I'm clear, you're holding in your hand the neck that "I Know a Little" was recorded on.
Yeah.
Yeah. You can see the date. It's going to be backwards probably. You see the date on it says 3/59. That's
I see it now. Yeah, I see it.
That's March of '59. That this was that guitar, the whole guitar was made, and this was Ed's originally, and then I showed it to Ed. I had it on a Strat for a while, and he recognized it immediately. He said, "But that neck's got a hump in it." I said, "Yeah, I had it fixed." And he played, and then Ed played this neck. That was while it was on my black Strat. He played it on one of my cuts that I did a solo album 20 years ago, and Ed played. So both Steve and Ed have played and recorded with this neck. So
that's just cool as hell, man. That's some history. That's some history right there now.
Definitely, and
it's a great story.
The other funny part about this neck is because it had that hump in it, Ed didn't really want to get rid of it. This was before he quit Skynyrd, and Craig probably remembers this. He used to carry it as a club like this when he'd go from a hotel to the van or the bus or whatever, in case somebody, when they were staying in a bad part of town or something, in a shitty hotel. And Craig got it off the bus. When Ed quit the band, this was still on the bus, and that's what.
No, I got that guitar off of Alan. Alan gave me that.
Alan rescued it then.
Yeah, but the telly.
I've got that telly body that was that Alan gave you. Yeah, I've got it. This is going on that, and it's
the body of that guitar came from Ed. He left it up in the warehouse, and it was up there just getting beat up, and it was up there it was up at the warehouse, and I said, Ed, what are you gonna do with that Strat body that's up in the warehouse? He goes, I don't care. You want it? And I goes, yeah. So I stripped it down. It had about 6 coats of paint on it.
What color was it?
Oh, it was all different colors, man. It was, I don't know, man. I don't remember. But I just stripped it down to bare wood and put polyurethane on it, and then put that neck on it, and then just threw a Schechner kit in it, and that was it, man.
Yeah, those pickups sounded great in that guitar. That body that this was on when Steve played it was a 54. You could tell by the grain on the guitar.
Yeah.
That's you can look at a 54 and know it's a 54 without looking it up a lot of times. And this was one of those. that was the first year they made the Stratocaster.
Do you know where that guitar is now, Craig? Do you have any idea?
I sold that. I sold that guitar to that guy in Texas.
But that was the guy in Texas?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's a mystery, because that guy's got a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
He knew what he had. He paid a lot of money for it.
He paid a lot of money for it.
He gave me $50,000 for that guitar. Yeah.
Yeah.
And you kind of think he's not even around anymore. Like he might have died.
I don't know, man. Don't know what happened to that guy.
That's crazy. Well,
Didn't he have a bunch of guitars?
He had a few. I think that was the most.
Yeah.
It was the most. I know he bid on Stevie Ray Vaughan's guitar, his Stratocaster. He said he quit bidding at $750,000.
Yeah, the guy was loaded. So Mike, did you play like mainly Alan's parts and then sometimes Steve's when you were with Skynyrd? Yeah.
It was like I played I Know a Little part of Steve's, and then I sang You Got That Right with Johnny. And but as far as we didn't play, I played his parts on You Got That Right and I Know a Little, and I think those were the only two we did that Steve was on.
Is that stuff on YouTube where we can pull it up? Because I've looked, I can't.
There's one video out there, and it just happens to be the night my guitar dies, and I ain't got a damn spare. And
really?
I only had Ed's or Craig's Strat, and I can't play the Freebird on a Strat. And so my freaking guitar died. My tech had just changed something in it. And if you turned up the volume, it would squeal like crazy. And it was driving me nuts and Ed nuts. And the one video I've seen was this freaking night. And so I had to turn the gain on the amp way down and play like I'm playing through a freaking Fender Twin, and it's awful. But, you know, I mean, I played okay. It's just not the sound not even close to what it should have sounded.
So it's out there somewhere, that video.
I've seen it.
We can see it.
I
Yeah.
seen it the other day.
I have all those tapes from Japan, the whole Japan tour. I think that's all with Mike on it.
But can you?
It's that
Yeah,
Mike.
but it doesn't have any sound, right?
Yeah, it
does?
It's out at the soundboard. Yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
damn, there you go, Mike. There's all your.
I got
stuff.
all the Japan shows. I'd set that camera up right before the show, and then after the show, I would go out and get the camera and then film all the people leaving the venue, all the Japanese people. It was pretty cool. I haven't played that stuff. My God,
You know what was amazing about going to Japan?
30 years I haven't played that stuff. It's on high 8 film. There's no small.
Yeah.
There was actually somebody here, Mike, that Chris Waldron in the questions, he wanted to know, can you tell him, dig deep, tell us what is one of your stories from Japan that you find, and you're just about to tell one, so that worked out good.
Okay, well, I think if he was since he asked that question, he probably knows the one I shouldn't tell.
Really? You think that's
Yeah.
what it is?
Yeah.
Well, why? Go ahead, man. We don't care. It's going to be all right.
No, it's just. Well, I'll tell part of it. I'll just say
There
this.
you go. There you
You know,
go.
with the Japan is the Far East, obviously. They're a day and a half ahead or a day ahead of us or something like that. So you're flying to the West to get to the Far East. Well, that tends to screw your time up, and you're not thinking clearly. And so you lose a day. Well, Billy Powell got there and somehow got his rooms mixed up. And do you remember this, Craig? And he got drunk and somehow managed to get into a room that was not booked out. I don't know how he got in there, but he did. And then since his luggage and all his stuff, his cameras and all his stuff weren't in that room, he thought somebody had broke into his room and stole everything. And so he went down to the front desk and raised all kinds of hell with these people.
That's the story, and he don't remember. He didn't remember
He didn't
anything.
even remember going.
Yeah.
But that was, and then one time he calls me up. It's 7:30 in the morning in Japan, right? We had just got there, and me and Billy was really good buddies. And he calls me up in my hotel room. I had just gotten to sleep. And because this is like, if it's 7 there, it's probably 6 in the evening back home. If it's 7 in the morning there. So he calls me up and he goes, "Hey, Mike, Billy, we go down to the bar and get a drink." I go, I look over at the clock. I said, "Billy, it's 7:30. He said, "I know." I go, "In the fucking morning." He goes, "Oh, sorry."
Well, so what was he going to do? He's going to ask you where his shit was?
No, this was to finish that story. The other story, the hotel clerk at the front desk. I mean, when you go to Japan, there's not many people speak English. I mean, they just don't. and at least back then they did. And but they finally worked it out that Billy had somehow gotten into the wrong room, and all his stuff was in fact intact and in place in his correct room.
God.
So, but they called me up, when all this fracas was going on to see if I could go help straighten it out, because me and Billy were buddies. And I was at the front desk, and I'm going, well, just, we got to find out who stole his stuff. And I'm pitching in there, getting behind him, and he was just, I don't know how he managed to get in the wrong room. I still, to this day, don't know. But I do know this. Once we figured it out, it was funny as hell.
And I bet they were everybody was ragging him, huh?
Oh, man, the cops came, everything.
Oh, shit.
I mean, he had the hotel cops, some local cops came in. I mean, he wanted his stuff, and he wanted it now. and it was all in his room. He had just went to the wrong room.
How far away was the room from his room anyway?
It wasn't close.
It wasn't? Damn. He must have just been putting his key in and whatever
doorknobs.
Yeah. Did he go in there and sleep?
No, because he panicked when he went in there.
As soon as he
goes in there and like, "Where's all my stuff?
Where's my stuff?" Yeah.
And it was an absolute. Once it was over, I was like, "Oh man, thank God!" I mean, we had just got there. We weren't there 3 hours,
Yeah, there was somebody in here and they were wanting you to do the Billy impression, so you just did it. You just did it. It sounds just like him, man. Sounds just like him. Mike does it. Somebody else does a good Billy impression. I forget who that was.
Ed used to do a good one.
Did he?
Yeah, it was good. I love that guy so much. He was so much fun.
Which leads me to John Nottingham. He says, "What's your favorite Ed King memory?"
Oh man, that'd be hard.
You probably got a lot of them, huh?
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. My favorite, probably the last time he came out and played. He came out and played here at this studio with my band, Skinny Molly, and me and Ed and Kurt, our drummer, and Luke, our bass player. And Ed came in and sat in with us because he wanted to play. He says, he called me up and says, is your bass player and drummer pretty good? I go, yeah. He goes, well, I want to go play with the band. Can I come play with you guys? I said, shit, yeah. So he came out and brought his dogs, and we just had a big old time.
What was it, at a venue or just
it was here at the house, right here.
Oh, at the house?
Yeah, in the studio here.
No shit.
Yeah, I had just finished refurbishing it wasn't a recording studio back then. It was just a rehearsal studio, and I just finished painting it all up and getting it all nice, and here come Ed, and he loved it out here. He said, "You've always got a great rehearsal studio."
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a compliment coming from Ed.
Yeah, he loved it, and we played for shit. I don't know.
Was that the last time you saw him?
No, it wasn't the last time I saw him, but it was the last time we played together. And it's just, I guess the reason it's my favorite memory was because it was the last time we played together, and we just had a big old time. We smoked cigars and played guitars. It's like,
that's just kind of stuff that did he ever tell you like any like strawberry alarm clock stories or anything like that? What, you got any of those that
I'll have those. He told me
good.
He told me they're killer. They're my favorite. That's my freaking favorite chocolate right there.
Dark chocolate, yeah.
He told me one that relates to Skynyrd was that Billy somehow managed to get thrown in jail and was going to miss a show, and so they got Lee Freeman who was in Strawberry Alarm Clock to play harmonica to kind of fill out the piano parts.
Oh, no kidding.
Yeah, the guy was an excellent harmonica player. There's footage of it out there. I've seen it, and that was a pretty good one. But most of the Strawberry Alarm Clock stories that were good were about. They used to be in all these B movies. The Strawberry Alarm Clock.
Yeah, they were in Valley of the Dolls or something. Yeah.
And he told me all about that and how it would, they'd be there all freaking day for $40 or something, and some of those stories he told me about. The not funny stories are how they got ripped off by their management big time, and they were kids, man, and they got screwed out of their publishing. And Ed wrote the music for that Incense and Peppermints, and he finally, I think, saw some money from it, but it took a long time.
Yeah, he said that I guess that they had another band was going around playing their music, and they found out about it. The manager or whoever that they had was ripping them off, and they put on them they made them cease and desist. Yeah. And then they said, well, hell, the gigs are already, or the venues are already booked. We might as well just go play. And so that's what they did. Yeah. But he was good friends with that guy, Lee Freeman, that was in that band. He was in the band with, and that's how Lee came to play that night with Skynyrd. But it's on video. I think it's black and white, but Lee's playing. I mean, he'd never played these songs, so he just went up there and ripped. Just ripped it out, huh?
Yeah.
Well, Ed had to be pretty familiar with California when you guys were ever there. Did he show you around in California, any of the places that he hung out or anything like that?
Not really. He told me about some of them, but I mean, he told me about, like, he went and saw the Doors.
I'm going to go fill my drink.
Okay. Like one of the first.
You're excused, Craig.
You're excused. One of the first. Make sure that's all you do.
Yeah. He's probably got a bottle of whiskey in there.
And so, but he told me about seeing the Doors I think at the Whiskey a Go-Go before they were ever big. And
oh, no kidding.
Yeah, like he said that he saw them, and I think he was on a mind-altering substance at the time, and he said it was still one of the best shows he's ever seen.
Really? No kidding.
And
did he tell you the story about Jimi Hendrix eating the candy bars?
No.
Yeah, supposedly he was somewhere where Jimi Hendrix was, and I think it was Snickers bars. And he sat and there, watched him eat about like 15 of them or something. Yeah, I forget where I heard that story, but yeah, it's an Ed King classic. Yeah,
yeah, it's like it got to the point where Ed and I knew each other so well that you just assume the other guy knows everything you know. Like, you don't even tell them stories of stuff that happened. You think they already know about it. You know what I mean? It's like
right,
people you grow up with, you don't tell them stories because they were there. You know, it got to be kind of like that because we really did get to be really tight. And I got really tight with Billy, and I got really tight with Gary as well. So
when did Ed start having the heart trouble? Were you around him at the time? Or?
Yeah, that was. He'd had that, like, I think diagnosed, but when it hit him, I'll never forget it. My sister actually came to the show. It was in Asheville, North Carolina, and he barely got through the show. And by the end of the show, he looked gray. And we were supposed to play the Georgia Music Hall of Fame the next day, and we canceled. And
had he already been to the doctor about his heart and everything yet? Is that
not to have anything fixed? I mean, he knew he had this thing. But
did he talk about it? Did he say, "Hey, man, my heart's"?
He told me a little bit about it, one day, and made it sound like it wasn't serious. And then
really,
one day it was. And yeah, I mean, that was one of the worst days of my life. It was, he looked so bad. They had to take him to the damn hospital. And the next day he was still in there, and we stayed parked, and I called him, I talked to him, and then I went over there and took him one of them electronic poker games, because there's no way he could just lay in the bed at that time and not do nothing. So me and Gary went over to see him, and he asked what we were going to do, and Gary told him, well, I've given Mike a day to learn your parts.
Wow.
He said, good. He said, I don't want you to. So we still set his amp up on stage, you know, as if he was there. And me and Gary played, I don't know, 4 or 5 shows where it was just us.
So Ed left the band while you were with the band for health reasons, basically.
Yeah.
And then did he like go off and just start working on trying to get better after that? Did he didn't ever come back again? Yeah.
Yeah, but then when we went out, they decided they were going to get Huey Thomason to fill his spot for a tour, and Ed would pay him, and out of his money that he got. Yeah, so there was actually, I think 9 shows. I think it was in March of '96, where it was me, Huey, and Gary on guitar.
Wow, that was pretty cool. Huey,
yeah,
he's something.
It was okay, and I had the dubious distinction of showing Huey Ed's parts, so I could go back to playing mine, and or Alan's actually, not mine, and so. But you know, we worked everything out. Huey was a pretty quick study, so you know, I think we did it. Me and him did it in 2 or 3 days, and he.
But if you had to guess, how many shows would you say you played with Skynyrd, Mike?
Oh God, I don't know.
Were you with him like a period of several years, or
just about 2.5?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what, about 80 shows a year or something like that?
Yeah, probably that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, about that. We played.
We'll jump into some post Lynyrd Skynyrd stuff with the Skinny Molly, but because you know we can't be on here all night, but we appreciate you coming, Mike.
Oh man, it's great to hang out with you guys. I missed doing.
Yeah. How did you get from the Skynyrd to Skinny Molly?
Well, that was like, I was bouncing around in different bands. Me and Paul Abraham had a thing called Driving Sideways, where we put together a band to go play the NASCAR circuit.
Yeah, that's right.
And that was a really good band, and we did a really good record. Me and Paul wrote all the songs on it, and we had a great time. That was a great time in my life. I'll never forget that. I mean, we used to go. We got to know the drivers and some of the owners and all this stuff. And me and the bass player, when we'd show up at the track, they had this cigarette girl, and she'd come find us and just hand us cartons of cigarettes for free. And it was like, all right, you know. But we had a blast doing that. And it just kind of faded out because it wasn't moving like it should have. And then I wanted to do like an outlaw country record, which that was 25 years ago, and now that outlaw country thing's caught on again. It's like, yeah, I've been doing that for 25 freaking years, and now
right. I know.
Now there's kids doing it. So, but so after that, I did that for like 2 years, and I was playing with the Southern Rock All Stars, and Dave Lubeck got fired from the Southern Rock All Stars.
Was it Randall playing with them too?
He played with them too. Yeah. There's been a bunch of good players in that band. Randall, Charlie Hargrett's a monster player.
They're still around, right?
Yeah, Charlie's still living as far as I know, and he's a great guy to hang out with. I love hanging out with him. But anyhow, so Dave got fired. I was kind of doing this thing called Brave New South. So I got Dave in my band, and we went and did some gigs. And then some guy called us from Europe, called me to see if I wanted to do a tour. And I said, yeah, and I've got a new band. And he said, what are you calling it? And I said, and I just came up with Skinny Molly because it was,
You just threw that out of there
Yeah.
right off the damn
and it
tip
was
of your
just going
tongue?
to be for one tour. It's all it was supposed to be. And it went so well that we ended up, I'm still doing it. So,
That was a heck of a freaking, I mean, you know, Alan Collins, Hell and High Water, Skinny Molly. That's,
we wanted to call it Hell and High Water again. We were going to do that.
yeah.
And then some bluegrass band named themselves that. And
No way.
Yeah, I don't know if they're still out there, but we had that name long before they did. And there's some kind of law, like it's last use. You have to use it so many times. I used to do Hell and High Water shows like one a year just to keep using the name and to keep it legally mine. And but one of them gaps where I didn't do it, here they come. So I mean, I don't even know if they knew that it was used before. I have no idea.
When did you hook up with Jay Johnson? What brought that about?
We first got to know each other on the tribute tour when he was in the Rossington band. It's when we met. And then he called me. We had each other's number, and he called me to come play with the Southern Rock All-Stars. And then I became, you know, great friends with him and great friends with Jackson Spires, the drummer from Blackfoot, was the drummer in the band. And I had a blast playing with those guys.
Did he take you around Muscle Shoals?
Oh, yeah.
Show you around and stuff?
He's the best Shoals tour guide out there.
Yeah, they got a lot of different studios out there.
Yeah.
And that one real old studio nobody even knows about where Skynyrd recorded one of their albums, and I did a little video tour of it, and it's on there, but at the time I didn't realize that was one of the places Skynyrd recorded.
Jackson Highway, Muscle Shoals.
Yeah.
They have rebuilt that place to the exact way it was in the 70s.
What's the one by the river over there?
That's Muscle Shoals sound as well, but it's the second one. They moved into an old school. That's where Jimmy Johnson went to high school, and the school was no longer in use. And so they kind of, when they broke off from Rick Hall and started doing their own thing on Jackson Highway, they wanted a bigger place because Jackson Highway is really small.
It's huge. It's huge.
The new one is, the second one is.
Yeah, the one by the river.
Yeah, it's big because it's an old high school.
And I had heard this came from a couple people that Julian Lennon was recording in that studio.
He did.
And he went out and sat on a rock in the river and wrote that, sitting by a pebble on the river playing guitar. That's where he wrote that.
I don't doubt it. Shoals is a great place. It still is. I've got, knowing Jimmy and Jay, I was great friends with Jay's dad, and we loved each other. And Jimmy used to sit in with Skinny Molly when we'd come down there and play. He played on Freebird, and he's played on Alabama, and it was freaking awesome. And we used to play there at the Muscle Shoals Sound 2. That's where we would do gigs. They call it something else now. The lady that runs it, her name's Tanya. And Something Moon. It's called Something Moon Studio.
Yeah.
Now. I can't remember.
Do you remember Tammy?
Cypress Moon. Yeah, Tammy. I know Tammy.
Tammy.
Yeah, I do.
Well, Craig, man, I think that Mike, one of the only reasons he comes on here is because you hooked him up, man. You hooked Mike up back in the day, didn't you?
I love Craig Reed like you can't believe. Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I've been knowing Mike since when
you called and Craig answered the phone, that was your golden ticket to the experience. You had one hell of a ride so far, man.
No doubt, and it's still going on. And it's like, I mean, I've been very fortunate to play with the band.
Oh man, you have. You've been in the thick of it, man.
Yeah, I played with. I've gotten offers from bands you've heard of. I'm not going to embarrass them by mentioning their names to join them, and I've played in two of my favorite bands that when I was growing up, and that was Skynyrd and Blackfoot. I got to front Blackfoot for two years.
Man, yeah, I tell you what, yeah, you've got some memories.
Yeah, I do.
And just to be able to hang around, Gary and Ed and Billy and
Oh
of
yeah,
course,
I never knew I'd become really good friends with them. But Craig can attest to this if he remembers. I hope he does remember. On the last night of the last show that I played with Skynyrd, which I think was at the Houston Astrodome, when I used to go out and see Skynyrd shows and hang out with Craig, I would help him do luggage. Go around to everybody's room and load up the luggage car.
Oh, wow.
So the last show of each tour, I'd go help Craig do luggage, even though I was the damn guitar player in the band. Just so we can hang.
Well, let's clear something up because we got some people. One person got on the comments and they said, Craig, we know that all you was you had the ability to get a hold of some good drugs. Lynyrd Skynyrd knew it, and that's why they let you hang around. But Craig, that might be true a little bit, but Craig worked his ass off, didn't he?
Oh, I guarantee you he did.
Oh, yeah.
He could fix anything. I mean, back then, he could fix anything. I remember one time, Gary's had this big-ass leather jacket he used to wear, and he couldn't keep the sleeves up. So Craig reaches over on a table with a sweatband, runs it up his arm, runs it up his other arm, and the sleeves stayed up.
Wardrobe guy.
I mean, there was nothing he did. He could work on guitars. He could make drinks. He could fix your sleeves. It didn't matter. I mean, he was so valuable to them. Believe me. And,
Greg,
and
do you have that hat laying around that you said maybe Mike knows who it belonged to? That black hat that you just reshaped, is it laying around close to you?
The black hat?
Yeah, the one that you said that you don't know where it came from. Yeah, Craig every now and then he'll pull something out of his ass, right, Mike? And he'll be like Ronnie Van Zant's tackle box.
Yeah.
I mean,
I'm sure.
People freak out like that neck of that Telecaster neck. I mean, people freak out when they see stuff like that because that's some really huge history.
No, I got that in a hat box out there.
Do you? Yeah. So Craig, he finds something every now and then. He'll pull it out.
It's a Bailey's. It's a Bailey's. It's just a Western Bailey's. It's a Bailey's.
It might have been Mike's.
That's why I don't recognize it because we always had Stetson or
Charlie One Horse, yeah,
or Texas
Hatters, yeah.
This is a Bailey's.
Bailey's, though, that Bailey's, I think. Okay, I think it's coming to me. If I'm not mistaken, Bailey's was the gal that ran Charlie One Horse, and she went out on her own.
Oh yeah,
yeah. And
okay.
I think that's how that
came. And a couple of times I say, yeah, Charlie One Horse, is he still around? And a guy gets on her. Man, it's not a guy that does it. It's the name of a company. I thought it was some Indian that was
that's what they want you to think.
Yeah, right? That's exactly right. Well, hell, Mike, we're going to let you roll, man, because, you got stuff to do, and we appreciate you coming on, and we want to save some stuff for the next time.
Okay.
We don't want to kill all the stories, man.
No, we don't want to do that. What was it Ronnie Caruso said to me one time, Craig? He goes, okay, next time you come over, I'll think of some smokers.
and in your opinion, Mike, Ronnie Caruso, he's innocent, huh?
I like the shit out of Ronnie Caruso.
Yeah.
I didn't know he had a problem.
Well, he didn't until he got until he had one. You know?
Oh.
He's been in the penitentiary for the last 5 years. He got 15 years.
Oh, you didn't know that, huh, Mike?
And they say he murdered Tracy, and she fell and hit her head. The doctor said she had a coroner said she had a heart attack, but they're trying to pin him with murder. They gave him
Mike
15
didn't even
years.
know.
So I've been trying to get. Yeah, I've known them guys for, like I said, Aaron's my godson. You know?
Right.
And
Man,
so I'm
didn't
trying to
even
get
know
people to
this.
write in and get him some clemency. Get him,
Yeah, Craig said those cops
Relief.
came in there all hopped up, and they overheard him yelling at her on the 911 call, and then they said, "Oh yeah, he had to have killed her." Well, he's having a heart attack at the time, wasn't he, Craig? And
Yeah, they called that. Yeah,
and Craig said
he's had
that
a
they
couple
always
heart
did
attacks.
that. That wasn't.
Oh, they always did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's nothing new.
Yeah, Craig said, "Ain't no way the guy's guilty."
He never was abusive to Tracy.
He may have yelled and got, acting like a hard ass, but there's no way he did that.
No.
No, there's no way. I mean, I don't know him like I know Craig, but I know him pretty good. And I saw him when I was down there, probably right before that happened. It was the last time I saw him, and I had his number and I called him, and he wanted me to come over, but I was in Daytona and couldn't. And but now I had no idea this happened. And so now he's been in the pen for 5 years.
He's been there 5 years. Yeah, he's been there 5 years.
How long's the sentence?
15.
Oh, hell.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, he copped a plea deal, thinking he was going to, the most he could get 5 years, and the judge just threw the book at him. Didn't like him because Ronnie got Aaron out of a bunch of trouble, and the judge had it out for Ronnie or something. I don't know.
Well, didn't Ronnie sell that? He ran that golf course and then sold it, didn't he?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And then his brother died and left him a shitload of money.
Pile of money.
Yeah.
So he's in jail and he got a lot of money and he's in jail.
Yeah.
Huh?
Yeah.
Damn.
God, I'd spend it on a good damn lawyer.
Yeah.
Well, he spent $250,000 on a lawyer.
Well, Mike, before we run, man,
This is bad news. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry to blindside. I thought you knew about it.
No, I didn't know shit about it, but I
Yeah.
guarantee you he didn't do it. I know him well enough to know that.
So what are you going to do? What's going on now with Skinny Molly? What's your next? You got anything you want to plug? Somebody wants to know somebody on here wants to know when's your next CD coming out?
Well, that's been a question because I know there's probably some people that watch y'all that know. We were talking earlier. I've had these problems with my nerves in my back of my neck here. The ones that
you got the Randall Hall thing going on.
It's like me and Randall have become the same guy. I'm not kidding. And so I just had to redo all my doctor stuff. And I'm starting from scratch again, but I can play, but I don't want to go out there and half-ass it. I'm probably playing. I play every day to keep, loose and stuff, but it's like,
but
I'm probably playing 80% of what I normally could. It's like I used to could peel off I Know a Little with my eyes closed, and now I got to watch it, and I'll still mess it up because it's like, even though I'm looking at it, my hands aren't doing what my brain's telling me.
It's that muscle memory. It messes up that muscle memory, huh?
It is because they're not the information from the nerves back here are not translating to here as good. But it's the good news is I can play all my stuff okay. And
Randall used to play like his own like composite Strat or something.
Yeah.
He never really played a heavy Les Paul, did he?
He did have one in the early 70s that he kept.
Yeah.
Till about, he had a Les Paul Deluxe that I really liked. It was I think it was a cherry sunburst one. And he had that Telebird. I think he sold it too. That was a really cool guitar.
Then he had some fancy schmancy looking, like something he had custom made.
Ed had that made.
Oh, Ed did?
Yeah, and Ed didn't like it, but Randall loved it. So
Really?
yeah.
It was black, right? Black?
Yep. Ed sold it to Randall, I think, cheap.
What was that thing made out of?
I don't know what the body was made out of, but it was a make.
Oh, okay. So that came from Ed. I'll be
He
damned.
bought that off Ed, and I think Ed sold it. That guitar is probably worth a lot of money at this point because those guitars are expensive. That brand.
Are they real light? Are they lightweight?
Yeah, I played it before. It was light. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But Randall used to play a Strat like in the Alan Collins band. And it was like a 57, I want to say. I can't swear to it. But, and Randall played like I did, 6-7 nights a week for years, and it's like right here.
Yeah,
I feel like I got a Les Paul around my neck all the time. And it's like I'm never out of pain. I like your background there, Craigie.
That's a lot of years, man, of playing guitar, Hey, what do you think about Barry Lee Harwood and Bo Bice joining the APB band? You know about that?
I think it's a great idea.
Ain't that cool?
Yeah, I think I played for Artie for a few years, had a blast. That's where I met the Southern Rock All-Stars, actually, and got asked to join that band. But anyways,
I heard that Barry didn't join Artemis's band, that he's just going to sit in every now and then.
I actually talked to him.
I can't see Barry touring.
I actually texted him and asked him, was he going to be in Clearwater and Stewart, Florida, and he said he was going to be there. So
yeah, I know that he was going out and playing some shows with some guys. Oh, Craig, I don't know if I told you, it's been about a year ago, I got to play with Derek Hess on a gig.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, it was, I think they call it Southern Rock's Finest, and the drummer's Derek Hess. I was trying to put together a Europe thing for that band. I love playing with Derek, man. He's like
he's a great drummer.
I wonder if that was after that Manatee Fest where Derek sat in there with those guys. That might have been, because that was, what did you say, it was a year ago?
Might have been a little more than a year ago.
But that Derek's something, man. He can just jump right in.
He still plays, man.
I know.
It's like he ain't lost a step.
He's a great guy to just sit in and just call him up on stage. And
I don't even want to play solos. I just want to luxuriate in that groove he puts down. I'm telling you, man. I love playing with him. He's fantastic.
Yeah, and when those guys were redoing that Getaway, he had a smile on his face from ear to ear, man. Just
he
like
told me about that.
Yeah.
I called him during that last hurricane and talked to him, and I guess he had some damage, but it wasn't too awful bad. But I told him, I said, if you need help, I'll come down there and help you. And he said, no, he's got a couple of, I think he's got a grandson that ought to be working.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So he said he had plenty of help. So
but
he had a big pine tree fall on his roof or something.
Oh, I didn't even know about that. He's a heck of a water skier, man. He does barefoot water skiing and shit. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. He's something.
He's the same. I swear to God, he hasn't changed since I first met him.
Yeah, he's pretty nice. He's a pretty cool guy.
He's wonderful. I really like him. Yeah.
He's a very personable guy. He just likes to go out and have a little fun and drink a few beers and,
play a few beers.
Play with some folks.
Yeah. Matter of fact, the last drink I took with Derek Hess. We drank a Maker's Mark together. And I say I quit drinking. I have maybe one or two a year. I said I'm not going to allow myself to have more than a few a year, but I'll have one with you and I'll buy it. So that was the last time. That was over a year ago.
All right. Well, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Mike, we appreciate you, man. Thanks for bringing that neck out.
Let me finish one thing. There
Yeah.
will be new Skinny Molly music in 2025. That is going to happen. To answer that.
Okay, great. Yeah, so you do plan on putting another CD out then?
Definitely.
And when do you plan on any tour dates coming up? Or you
I've
gonna
got
get
at
your
the
neck
end of
fixed?
May. At the end of May, I'm playing a benefit for a good friend of mine in Trenton, Georgia. I think it's on. Oh, let me see. I can check. Hope it's right here. Yes, here it is. On May 24th, there's going to be 3 or 4 bands down there, and it's at this friend of ours' house. He's got a stage in his backyard, and they have the best country parties around. And the guy that normally puts us on down there, we just had a gig booked, and then he developed some heart problems, and so now it's turned into a benefit. And I got to shout out one thing. A friend of mine over in Corbin, Kentucky, who's a home slice, and he didn't want me to mention his name, but if you go to YouTube, his shop is Kentucky Colonel, and he does guitars, and he has donated a guitar for an auction for the benefit of my buddy Martin Prince. So, and it's an Explorer that looks like Alan's.
Gotcha. Okay, cool.
So check him out, and that is May 24th. I believe it's a Saturday in Trenton, Georgia.
All right, man. Well, Mike, Craig, you got anything else you want to say?
I do, yeah. I got a couple of things here. Oh, hold on a second. Let me get my closing material up here. Try to be professional here. Andreas Hawk, he's the one that donated the $100, and he's donated a bunch of stuff to us, and he's the one that offered Gene a place to stay if he goes to Germany. He wants to please tell more stories about the marriages of the band members and your forgotten wives, and also tell stories about the children and what they do today. And keep telling something about the everyday life in America. And I do wish you and all the crew all the best. Andrew.
All right.
Yeah. And Ronnie Parker, I got your request, and I'm going to write to you and see if I can't do a little more than you're asking me to do for you. And hey, TP, yeah, thanks for the treats. I've just about gone through that whole bag. I shouldn't have.
Craig, get back here on my mailing address. I want some of them blueberries.
Oh, Mike, she sends me this Luke's what a big ass bars of soap.
Really?
Yeah, she sends me all this stuff. What do they call it? Luke's.
I've heard of that. I've heard of that soap.
Big Luke's big ass bars of soap.
Yeah.
Yeah, she sends me all different kind of flavors.
Yeah, she's she does a Journey. She's actually
a singer for a
she
Journey
does
tribute
Steve
band.
Perry.
Oh, really?
She's a front lady for Journey.
Oh,
yeah,
that's cool.
She's a pretty cool chick. She's not one of these chicks you want to mess with. She's a matter of fact type chick, but she's
good.
funny. She's funny as hell. Yeah, she's a great gal.
You gotta to be a chick in this business, man.
Oh man, yeah.
You gotta be a hard ass, and I totally understand it.
All right, well, Craig, hold on to those questions, and then next week we'll get to them. And Mike, thanks for coming, man. And
listen, holler at me anytime. I'll come on anytime you want to. I love doing this. It's a blast seeing you guys.
And we appreciate
all right,
it.
cool. We wish we could have brought Paul to you, but he had technical difficulties with his new what do they call it? Android.
Yeah, man, like I said earlier, I went through this exact same stuff he's going through when I switched phones. It's a nightmare. It really is. I miss you, Paulie.
And then there's something was kind of funny as I said, hey, Mike, you got a J180 behind you back there. And he says, yeah, it's an Epiphone J180. And I said, well, I got a Gibson J180. And so we both have a J180.
Yeah, I love this guitar. It's like the reason I got it's because I'm like an Everly Brothers fan, and I just like the way it looked. But I realized when I played a real one that the sound was kind of dead because of that pick guards.
Those pick guards, that Gibson got a real thick one.
Cheap. You can't even see the thickness on this one. See?
No, you can't. That's paper thin. It does it. It kills the sound with that big old thick pick guard on there.
It can, yeah. I played one that sounded pretty good, but this one here sounds great. I keep it in that Jimmy Page tuning, that DA.
The drop D, you mean?
Yeah. But
you got to keep one laying around in the drop D.
Oh yeah. Y'all are awesome, man. Thanks.
Thank you, Mike. Appreciate it, man.
All right. Happy trails to you until we meet again, and see you later, alligator, at the Wild Crocodile. And that was podcast 304. Whatever it is.
305.
305. And that's a wrap. We're out of here, Cut.